Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Today's video we're talking Mauricio Pochettino. Could he be the next manager of Chelsea Football Club? Well, if reports are to be believed today, he may just be that. Yep, apparently the club of Chelsea and Mauricio Pochettino have held talks, and apparently, if reports are to be believed, they have gone pretty positively to the point where this story could escalate within the coming days, within the coming weeks, and maybe, just maybe, Pochettino might be crossing that former Tottenham managerial role to join Chelsea, that kind of rivalry divide that separates these two clubs, and become the new manager of Chelsea Football Club. He'll be back in the Premier League and managing a rival in Chelsea. This massive project under Todd Boehly, of course, going on right now. Could it happen? Usually we're sat here talking about Tottenham going after a former Chelsea manager. Well, to borrow a phrase from the US office, well. How the turntables... Exactly. We're going to be talking about Pochettino, we're going to be talking about Chelsea, Todd Boehly, and everything else in between. But before we go any further, I would like to remind you all, please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things are always and very greatly appreciated. But for now, let's talk everything to do with this. And I'm sure you've got your own comments and thoughts, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call it as well. So do get involved in the comment section as well on this particular topic, because it's pretty crazy to me, it's pretty chaotic. So we're going to just dive straight into it. Look, in my opinion, this news coming about Mauricio Pochettino, I don't necessarily see it being a bad thing for Chelsea. I can see why Chelsea fans won't like it. A former Tottenham manager managing their club, they wouldn't like it. It's like that manager's been tainted by a rival to come into your club, whatever the case may be. I've obviously seen it happen with Everton, with Rafa Benitez, and that didn't exactly turn out well and everything. So I understand that rivalries within football often throw up these kinds of stories and narratives. I personally don't see it as a bad appointment, to be honest. Is it the perfect appointment? No. By absolutely no means do I think it's a perfect appointment. If I was in Todd B's position, would have gone for Luis Enrique. Luis Enrique, for me, would have been the perfect choice to become the next Chelsea manager. But if reports are to be believed today, him and Julian Nagelsmann are completely out of the running now to become the next Chelsea manager, meaning they are free to go to whoever wants them. And so Chelsea has seemingly moved on. And they've moved on to Pochettino. There's also talk about Vincent Kompany, who's doing wonders right now with Burnley, got them back into the Premier League, back into England's top flight division. They're on the verge of winning the championship. He's done wonders to transform that club completely from the inside out. And he's seemingly doing very well for a young manager. But we'll obviously have to wait and see how well he does, how well he progresses, whether his management style and everything is sustainable. And he's a very young manager, and I think that he should stay away from this situation entirely, because with Todd Boehly right now in Chelsea, it's seemingly a chaotic cesspool of chaos and disarray, because there's so much going on. It's a complete circus at Stamford Bridge. You've got Todd Boehly, a guy who has been in charge for just under a year, making everything seemingly about him. I've never seen an owner come in and have so much of an influence on a club, a culture, a league like the way he has. Everything that we talk about is seemingly about him or related to him or his club in some way. He seemingly wants the spotlight completely. Whether that obviously starts to fade away over time once he starts to put his vision in place and starts to put the right people in place at the club, both on and off the pitch and stuff, I don't know. But for right now, this guy is seemingly at the forefront of everything to do with Chelsea Football Club right now. Like, Abramovich was there, yes, but he was quite happy to the backseat role. He was just known as the money giver. He was just known as the checkbook guy, you know? Like, that's basically what he was known for. It wasn't as heavily speculated upon. It wasn't as heavily documented on about his role or anything. This guy, Todd Boehly's come in and just wants the spotlight, it seems, from Chelsea and from everything that goes on with it. So it's pretty chaotic, and you can see it's chaotic from this managerial situation, because we've gone from Luis Enrique and Julian Nagelsmann maybe being the top candidates to now Pochettino and Vincent Kompany. It's mad to me. It's crazy to me, but obviously it remains to be seen whether or not this does carry on. But there does seem to be some weight behind this Pochettino thing, and like I say, I don't think this is a necessarily bad appointment for Chelsea Football Club. I can see why Chelsea fans wouldn't like it. I can see why they wouldn't want a former Tottenham manager to be in charge of their club. But at the same time, I think there are some good points to this. You can argue that maybe his track record of winning things isn't the best, but this is a long-term project that Chelsea are under right now. And that's why I think it's good, because you're bringing in a project manager. We saw from Pochettino's time at Tottenham how good he can become at being that project manager. He solidified Tottenham over the course of several years to be a top 4 side, to go far in domestic competitions, the FA Cup, the League Cup. He got them to a Champions League final. What let him down was obviously the club. The club let him down because when he needed the backing most, when he needed the finances and resources available to him most, they didn't release them to him. They went 3 transfer windows without signing anyone. They went boring, they went stale, they deteriorated over time. That's not necessarily on him, although you can argue that maybe he's not entirely blameless. Of course he's not. But not strengthening the side, not bringing in new faces, not bringing in new people to kind of hear the same spiel, the same team talks, the same kind of conversations, whatever the case may be, obviously hurt Tottenham in the long run. And Tottenham weren't the same after that Champions League final of 2019, which they lost. They weren't the same. And so you can kind of argue that the board should have backed him more. And that's the thing. He's going to get back to Chelsea. They're already throwing massive amounts of money at this massive project. This long-term picture, whatever you want to call it, that I've gone on about and banged on about and getting a bit bored of, to be honest. But they're throwing massive amounts of money at it. So imagine Pochettino, the job that he did at Tottenham on a moderately sized budget, not exactly shoestring, but not the massive amounts of what this Chelsea side have done, or what United have this past decade, or what Liverpool have done in the past, or what Arsenal have done. But a moderately sized budget, imagine what he could do when that budget increases. Imagine what he could do when the resources increase. He's allowed more freedom. He's allowed this. He's allowed that. He can do even more so than what he's done. He can bring that attractive football that he plays back to Chelsea. They need a vocal point up front. Of course they do. But maybe that will come with time. Maybe he's already got someone in mind. Maybe. Just maybe. It's a certain Harry Kane. Chelsea have the money to do it. Pochettino's obviously influenced his career and helped him grow into the clinical striker that he is today. Maybe Pochettino does have that pull to maybe say, I know we're kind of rivals, but if we lay the money on the table, will you cross from Tottenham to Chelsea? It could happen. I don't think it will, but it genuinely could if obviously Pochettino does get the managerial position here. Brings with him that attractive football, attracts one of the most deadliest strikers in the game right now. Good project manager that can work with the youngsters that Chelsea have brought with them, because let's face it, over the past year, Chelsea have been making a lot of progress in improving their academy, improving their youth setup, bringing in tons of youngsters that they are preparing for the future. Whether it will be a money-making system in terms of these players, some of them will be good enough to progress to the senior squad, some of them will be only good enough to sell on, and maybe we'll get a bit of money for them and a bit of profit. Whatever the case may be, that Chelsea model is obviously going to keep on spinning and everything. And Pochettino, like I say, is very good at working with youngsters, because he did it at Tottenham. Brought some youngsters up through the academy. We've already talked about Harry Kane. Already mentioned Heung-Min Son. Came in as a youngster, built him up to be a deadly player that he is today. And with the players that Chelsea already have available, You look at the likes of Reece James and maybe even the likes of Raheem Sterling and Mikael Mudryk. Maybe they could be big influences on the attractive style that obviously Pochettino plays. Maybe he could transform Mudryk into maybe being like a Heung-min Son, for example. There's a lot of potential here. There's a lot of foundations that Pochettino can build upon with this side. Being the project manager that he is, having the ambition behind him of this massive project. There's a lot to work with here that I think would be a good fit for Pochettino in terms of his style of play, the youngsters available, the finances that are going to be available to him. I genuinely think that this could be a very smart move by Chelsea. Maybe not a popular one, which again throws into question, why did you bring back Frank Lampard? Why did you get rid of Graham Potter? If you were only going to bring back Frank Lampard for the good vibes, fan favourite, whatever the case may be, to kind of get the Chelsea fans back on side, why would you then throw that into complete chaos by bringing back someone that maybe Chelsea fans are not liking the look of? I don't know. It kind of says to me that Todd Boehly hasn't got a clue, and let's face it, that wouldn't be completely out of the question, because I think a lot of people are probably saying Todd Boehly hasn't got a clue what he's doing. Like I say, it's complete chaos. It's an absolute circus of complete disarray down at Stamford Bridge right now, it seems. But this could be a genuine smart move. Of course it could backfire. Of course it might not make the most sense and might not be the best. It might not work out, shall we say. Maybe football in the Premier League has moved on since Poch. Maybe people are going to be... maybe his football will deteriorate. Maybe there's something won't be right. Maybe Todd Boehly will have too much of an influence and maybe that will affect things and maybe Pochettino will be the fall guy. You know, there's a lot that can go on, and because there's a lot of chaos already at Chelsea, I kind of feel like this one's either hit or miss. And it's so unclear. You're entering the great unknown right now at Chelsea with everything going on, that at the end of the day, if it does go wrong, you don't know who to blame, and if it does go right, you don't know who to really praise. Like, that's how weird and chaotic it is, and how crazy the situation is. But like I say, I don't necessarily see this being completely bad for Chelsea or their fans. I understand why the fans wouldn't be happy in terms of, like I say, him being a former Tottenham manager, but at the same time, I don't think Chelsea fans even know what they want. When Todd Boehly came in under a year ago, we knew that this was going to be a massive project that was going to take time. We knew that this was going to take time for everybody to get in place, Todd Boehly to bring in his people, time for Todd Boehly to oversee the situation and work out the best way to go about it from a business point of view in terms of making money, and of course try and win success on the pitch as well. Chelsea fans, I think, at first were on board with it. They saw a lot of money being splashed. They were optimistic for the future. Then, of course, what happened was Tuchel got sacked. Potter was his replacement. Potter didn't exactly start his Chelsea career off in the best of ways. Chelsea fans then grew tired instantly. They grew impatient instantly. I'm not saying all Chelsea fans, the majority of them seemingly grew impatient instantly. And I think a large part of that is down to the Roman Abramovich era, because the Roman Abramovich era brought instant success. If things weren't going well, Abramovich would be very cutthroat. He'd get rid, and he'd replace him with someone who was a winner. Someone who was going to win right off the bat. Mourinho came in, and he won. Avram Grant came in, he won. Gus Hiddink, Carlo Ancelotti. Obviously, you've got some misses in there, like Andre Villas-Boas. But even Di Matteo won a Champions League. Even Rafa Benitez won a Europa League. Mourinho came back. You look at Antonio Conte. Like I say, it's that winning thing that Chelsea have bred into these fans of instant success. Quick change, instant success. That's what obviously a lot of these Chelsea fans grew up on, and I think that's why they grew so impatient so quickly. They weren't prepared to see the bigger picture. They weren't prepared to see the long-term project, and I think a lot of them have that in them because of what Abramovich has instilled in this club to the core of the fan base. I don't know if Chelsea fans know what they want. I definitely know that Todd Boehly doesn't know what he wants, but I think that a bit more patience is required from the fans and from everybody seemingly involved. Maybe Pochettino can bring that. And even if Pochettino doesn't completely work out in terms of success and trophies, you know that there is a very big possibility that he will lay more foundations for the next manager to come in. So he will get them to a certain point, and then it will be, right, you've got us back into the top four. You've got us challenging for domestic trophies. You've got us progressing in European competitions. We're gonna cut you out now, and we're gonna bring in the next manager who is better than you, knows how to win things, and will just add the layer, the icing on this cake, so to speak. He will add the final touches to this team, this final bit, just to get them across that finish line of first place, to get them across that finish line of winning trophies again. So in a sense, this could definitely work, but it's going to take a lot of patience and require a lot of work from the Chelsea fans to be on board with this. But I understand why they wouldn't necessarily do that, and why they would necessarily not be entirely pleased with what may be about to happen in terms of the managerial situation at Chelsea Football Club. But of course, these are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of this whole Mauricio Pochettino thing? What do you make of Chelsea Football Club? What do you make of Todd Boehly? What do you make of maybe Pochettino becoming the next manager of Chelsea Football Club, and everything else in between? I'd love to know your thoughts, your comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, down below in the comments section, because I'm sure it'll make for interesting reading. Otherwise, hit the like button on the right if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new and want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I'll see you all again soon in another video.